Yeah. And many of the people who make those sort of statements come from a community that make an art form, an absolute art form of remembering their defeats. Just look at Gallipoli, Anzac Cove. How many millions of dollars have been spent on that now, and people now trot off over there every year, you know, not saying it's bad, but if you come from a community that believes in that sort of art form of remembering defeats, you know, all around Australia. My father was alive. I'd attend the dawn service every year with him, and we'd stand there and we'd say, "Lest we forget." But it seems as though it's all right for some people to say, "Lest we forget," and others have just got to forget it. Well, sorry, it doesn't wash with me. It should be lest we forget for everybody, everybody. And the original Australians, the first Australians, have just as much right to remember their defeats, remember the massacres that were carried out across this country, remember some really horrific situations all around the country. And Australia needs to grow up, acknowledge what's happened, and then we can get on with it. One Saturday afternoon, I was sitting with a group of people in Central West country town, one of the large communities there. And in this hall this afternoon was a group of people who wanted to be involved in a reconciliation committee or group with Aboriginal people in that community. They'd asked me to come and run a session with them. And I passed around a small A4 piece of paper which had written on it a massacre that had occurred just, I think it was less than 20 k's out of town. And as I passed it around, give them a copy, and let them read it. And then I came back and worked around the group. Said, look, just give me a response of what you have to this story about this massacre where so many men, women and children were killed. And when the sergeant asked for a count on wounded and dead, he was told there was none. So they were all killed, shot to death with musket fire, which means that you'd have to put in a number of musket shots into some of those bodies to make sure they were dead. It wasn't high-powered rifles, they were muskets. And to make it worse, they then cut the heads off 20 people and they set about boiling them down, the skulls down, so they could be packed in crates and sent off to England. It was all on this A4 bit of paper. And as I went around the group, I started with some older people in the group because they were up the front, and they said, "Yeah, we know about this story." And then the next old person said, "Yeah, we know all about this story." Next old person, "Hey, we know about this story." Yeah. Then I come to one of the younger people, and there was a group of younger people in the middle of the group, and they just said, "Wow, when I read this story, I was absolutely disgusted and upset. But what's made me more upset is that these old people know this story, and we've been here with them in this group, in this church group it was. We've been here with them in this church group all my life, and they've never told us the story. So everybody wants it to go away. The only way for it to go away and go away properly is for it to be acknowledged. And we can all stand on Anzac Day or whichever day we want to do, we can stand there and say, "Lest we forget." Let's truth and justice be the flame that we carry, not this stupid statements like, "Oh, Aboriginal people need to forget the past and get on with it." They are just really stupid statements, going nowhere.